that one out with rain on it.
There's another pool. It sounds so nice down there. It sounds nice, like there's water. Can you see that? That's fine. Okay. Look at this one. Oh wow. Hello. Come back. Sure. Where's the other one? Oh, let me see the one that Sure decides to walk over.
Take a nice photo and take the sticker out the phone.
There's another one coming there. And some more, yeah.
Oh geez.
Take your tongue.
What was that Chuck Norris joke? Horses, something and he uppercut the horse, so that's where giraffes comes from. I've never seen a giraffe in real life.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've walked with giraffes.
Hello.
Take a nice photo.
He's looking at us.
Zoom in. Other way to the camera. Okay, yeah.
Friendly, he's waving his tail.
Cozy. They look welcoming. Yeah, because you're gonna go close to this one.
Look at this one.
Yeah.
They're tall, eh?
And they're very dangabahan because they'll kick you to death. That's so
We're
much
gonna
worse.
wait for him to move.
I'll go wide. See if he gets aggravated enough. He should be. Yeah, big boy.
Starting point. Any questions? Shall we do this? Hello there, how are you? I'm good, thank you. Pardon? Did I come visit you guys again? Oh, good. Do you have your box ready for it though this time? Oh, okay. We're gonna have to come sort it out for you guys then. We were last aware that they were by the Itaka private houses kind of directly in front here. No, this one, 600. Itaka, Mabalingwe.
Yes.
Debra.
Good.
Debra kawat tamara.
Okay. So these are your plain zebra or your birch zebra. These are the more common type of zebra you get in the world. Does anyone know what the second most common type of zebra is in the world? It's called almost a hand up. It's called a Cape Mountain zebra. So your Cape Mountain zebra is actually a very endangered animal as well. There's actually a whole reserve dedicated to it, but if you go to the right areas you can find them relatively easy. Same way if you go to the right areas you can find a black wildebeest relatively easy. But general rule of thumb is you don't see a lot of Cape Mountain zebra, you will see a lot of Birchall's or plains zebra. Reason being for that is just because they've adapted to eat a lot more efficiently without being as picky as a Cape Mountain zebra would be. It's even though it's the same species, it's like people. Some people would eat everything, some people won't eat everything. Standard kind of operating procedure. What do you think some of the differences are between Cape Mountain zebra and Birchall zebra though?
To eat.
There's a good point. It's almost like we heard that one. Almost.
The stripes? Are they all the same?
Unique, the stripes are unique, isn't it?
Yeah, it's unique, like a pair of fingerprints are unique, so you couldn't really say the stripes. But I can give you half a point because it's where the stripes end is a good starting point. So if you look at our Birchalls or plain zebra stripes, you'll see they go all the way underneath the belly. They do not connect in the middle. It's not possible for it to connect in the middle like that. Your Cape Mountain zebra ends on its rib cage, so there's a clean white underbelly as a whole. It's little things like that. Next difference, or next most popular difference, is the ears of your Birchalls and Cape Mountain zebra. If you look at our Birchall zebra over here, you'll see they have horse-like ears, more cone-shaped, quite sharp in general appearance, whereas your Cape Mountain zebra has more donkey-like ears, so more wooden spoon-shaped, a bit bigger, a bit floppier in a fantastic, weird, wonderful way. Weird question. How do you tell if a zebra is healthy or sick? There's two ways. The easiest way is you take it to the vet, obviously. It'll always work. It will be the best way of doing it. But I like that guess. The ears is not a bad guess. Do you guys see the manes of our zebra over here? The one thing they have in common is they're standing upright. You guys agree? Well, I hope you agree. Otherwise, we have a very sick zebra. The mane stand upright. If a zebra gets sick, the mane will fall to the left or fall to the right or split down the middle. There is a fantastic reasoning behind that. What is their closest cousin? That's exactly the animal you're thinking of. A horse, 100%. Horses and donkeys. I heard a donkey somewhere there as well. Horses and donkeys are their closest relative. Now, a bit more of a weird, more difficult question. What's their closest bush cousin? Think weird. Not elephant and Dashi different, but that kind of thing. Warthog's not a bad guess, it's not warthog though. That's where Cabanossi comes from, it's not a bad product either. It's a rhino. Your zebra's closest relative, wild relative, is a rhino, which means your rhino's closest relative is a zebra. The reason being for that is the way they feed. So they are what we call bulk feeders or bulk grazers. So they eat a hell of a lot of grass. They have that fantastic bloating the system that happens with both your zebras and your rhino, but your rhino is a more compact animal. It's not as obvious. And then more importantly, their foot structure. So their foot and digestive tract are very similar. They are what we call ungulated animals. That refers to the way their foot is set up. So our hippos and rhinos, you'd think they would be more closely related just because of general appearance. But your hippo is what we call an even-toed ungulate because they have 4 toes. Your rhino is what we call an odd-toed ungulate because they have 3. Zebras only have 1, making them odd-toed ungulates as well. Horses are also ungulates, but the big difference between them is they don't develop that hardened clove over anymore because people have kind of coddled them to be riding animals and stuff like that. So that's why they wear horseshoes nowadays. With them being that close to one another, it is a very unique animal in the whole setup of the bush in that weird, wonderful way. So with that, now probably the most common zebra question, what color is it? Black and white, technically yes, but is it white with black stripes or black with white stripes?
I think white with the black.
Okay, black with white stripes, okay.
I think it's white.
The correct answer
I
is,
think it's white.
the correct answer is none.
None.
None. Your zebras, if I'd ask you what color is the coat, white with black stripes is correct. But the animal itself is grey. So if you shave off a zebra's coat, it's a grey animal. That's why they affectionately get called pajama donkeys. That's not just a funny name, it also is some logic behind it. But the coat has been developed over thousands and thousands of years of fantastic evolutionary traits so that they can protect themselves from predators. Because as I'm sure some of you will know, predators are colorblind.
Yeah.
They see mainly in black and white. So with them seeing mainly in black and white, fantastic question. Do you ever see one zebra?
No.
No, not likely.
Yeah, because it's lunch. That's the long and short of it, because a lion won't lose a zebra if it's just one. What happens with these fantastic animals, even if you just watch them over there, you can kind of see they've gone behind one another. They appear to be bigger. So what predators do is they look for the black and white coloration first, then they look for the smallest, weakest individual, and then they'll go for that one. If your zebras are together, there's no outline, it's one solid shape. So a lion being this big is viewing zebras that big, so it'll leave them alone. And that's why the collective noun for zebra is a dazzle of zebra, because of the effect they have on predators' eyes when they go across each other. It is quite fantastic. But if we want to be real detail orientated with the color, it is a grey animal with a white coat with black stripes, with grey stripes and brown pigmentation inside of the coat. You can bring your Tresemme champagne conditioner, you're not getting rid of that brown pigmentation. It is to help them blend in a little bit easier. The grey stripes are what we call shadow striping. It's almost like your printer running out of ink. It starts to get a bit more blotchy. That's to help with that camouflage as well, especially when they're going across one another in that fantastic manner. Our plan is, from what I was told earlier, you know that watering hole where you kind of reverse back and up and down by, the elephants were seen by there. I was just looking for evidence. I thought I saw half a track and I was like, sure, but I know they were there. There was picture evidence of them, but there was not much to follow besides a little bit of evidence that came the way we are now going down. I did ask the other guide who was behind us to go straight back down the way we came, because there's no point of us following down the same road if they're not here. So if she sees them, she'll let me know and we'll go back around that way. But worst case scenario, we'll start here, we'll go do other stuff, we'll come back here later when it's a little bit cooler, hoping they'll go towards the watering hole as a whole. But if you don't go, you'll never know, is kind of the takeaway. When we see more animals, we'll talk about all those other fantastic things. But yeah, any questions on our pajama donkeys from this side?
No.
Then one last thing I want to tell you is, did you see that weird cactus tree we saw earlier?
Yeah.
That is called a knobworm. It is where Naboom spruit comes from, the name itself, and there's some fantastic beliefs for that. I'll get to that. But in English, it's called a candelabrum tree because of the way it branches out and does that fantastic thing. What's really, really cool about the Naboom is it is quite unique. When I say quite unique, I mean very unique. Its base is bark. It's wood, just like how any other tree would be. And the top, that fantastic candelabrum shape that forms it, is cactus. So it is a literal cactus tree, hence Naboom meaning nearly tree or almost a tree, and all those fantastic things. One of my funniest beliefs or traditional beliefs that go along with the tree come from that tree over there. I'll never be brave enough to try it, but apparently if you get the milk in your eye, it will make you blind, and the only cure for it is a pregnant woman's breast milk. Like I said, I'm never gonna try it, so I'll just take their word for it. Not for me to find out, fortunately.
Why not?
I quite like being able to see. It's an important part of my job. Otherwise, that could be a lot of fun. Just going off instinct or driving on these roads would be a lot of fun. But yeah, any questions?
Do they grow so big? Do they always grow so big? These trees?
Yeah, they grow quite easily as well. So I don't know if you saw the top ones kind of like stretch out a little bit, so they'll get little flowers on them. And then the whole point of those flowers is they'll fall off and they'll hit the floor and they'll germinate straight away.
Oh.
So if it hits the floor, the flowers, it will germinate. It will become another Naboom. So you get Naboom forest because they take over that easily. And they're quite greedy plants in a fantastic sort of way because they do steal water and everything from the other plants. It's a leaf. They do steal water and stuff from other plants. They kind of become dominant of a thing, but it is an indigenous tree and it's not classified as a threatening or invasive plant. Other trees like a jacaranda would be classified, so they kind of have that space where they're just keeping their area safe and then growing quite large. Don't get me wrong, that is a nice example of it, but they're quite random. That one was quite a low base bark with quite a lot of cacti, where sometimes you get a much taller tree with much less cacti and all that fantastic stuff. But yeah, that is not a bad sized one. That's a really like a sized one. And you can also buy it as a bonsai if you really want. But there's normal bonsais you can buy, and those are already a pain in the arse enough.
Tell me, are there rhinos here on this?
We do have rhino. We have 4 of the big 5 free roaming. We just don't have lion. Someone's going to be curious as to why. Mabalingwe is not big enough. In order to have free roaming lion on a reserve, you have to be 20,000 hectares or bigger. Mabalingwe is 12,500 hectares. Weird, wonderful thing, but we have white rhino, no black rhino, because this is the wrong habitat for black rhino. So yeah, if we find them, we'll talk about them in all the fantastic ways, shapes and forms. But let's do this. Oh, it's not a rhino. I would be terrified if that was a rhino. We have serious malnourishment. Okay, what is that animal? That is a type of antelope. That is a good starting point. We can begin there. It's not a baguette, it's not a nyala. Its closest cousin would be a hartebeest. So it's not a hartebeest, but it's not either. That fantastic thing is called a tsetsebe. That is a very, very impressive little animal. Why do you guys think I say it's an impressive animal? Why is it an impressive antelope? I'd say maybe more specific. I'll give you a clue. Cheetahs are quite well known for it. They're fast. That's the fastest antelope in the world. Run speeds of over 90 kilometers per hour. What makes it a little bit more impressive is, do you see how the back arches downwards? There's 2 reasons, serious reasons, no vet joking reasons, for that back arching like that. What are your guys' beliefs with those backs? It's not for acceleration actually. What are your guys' guesses? Why would their backs arch like that? First reason is stamina. So these are long distance runners, they're endurance runners. So what that means, on top of being really, really fast, they can run their top speed for kilometers upon kilometers upon kilometers. Whereas your cheetah can only run its top speed for about 2-3 kilometers at most, sometimes 4, but that's very stretching it. These guys can run their top speed for 10-15 kilometers with relative ease. So running 90 kilometers per hour for that long is an impressive feat nonetheless. What do you think the other reason for the sloping back is? It's more common with giraffes actually, but it is common with antelope as well. When lions hunt, where do they go first? They go for the bum first. They go for the back to slow down the animal. Then they'll go for what's called a mercy kill. With that being in mind, you see how the back slopes there. So if the lion hooks on and it can't get a proper grip, the chances of it slipping off are a lot higher, with its legs being able to escape and continue on. Whereas an impala is a straight back, and even if it does slip off, the odds of it being tripped up are a lot higher than with these fantastic weird little buggers over here. They are my opinion, I think they're quite pretty. A lot of people do not think they're pretty, and that's fine as well. Like I said earlier, they do get confused with hartebeest quite a bit. Start off with the most obvious colors, most obvious difference between the two. It's not color, it's the horns. So if you look at your hartebeest's horns, they'll actually go up in a fantastic heart-esque shape and then continue as what I call blockers. So blockers mean that it will be restricted from running as fast because the horns are catching in the wind. Whereas what you see with our tsetse over there, their horns are more streamlined backwards. So when they're running, they in theory flow straight over and helps with their acceleration speed. The next one is color. Color can be a bit tricky, but your red hartebeest name is the most obvious part of it, red. It is a red antelope pretty much the whole way around, except on the bum where it has almost a whitish kind of coloration towards them. With that being said, your tsetse also has a whitish bum, but you see it has a black face, and we can't really see it that nicely, but the shades of brown are different. So it has a white underbelly similar to an impala, it has a darker shade of brown on its ribs, it has a lighter shade of brown on its back, and the belief with that is, like with most color, is for camouflage, to help them hide a lot more efficiently in a weird, wonderful way. There is a wildebeest just to the left making a heck of a lot of noise. That is one of the ugly five. I'm not too worried about not finding wildebeest though. Any questions on our tsetse? Last bit of information with them, you don't see a lot of them anymore because of human encroachment. Sometimes encroachment can be something as silly as taking away certain bits of land, but with them, funnily enough, I'm sure we all know they are herbivores, but they're very picky herbivores. They only eat certain categories of grasses. Categories being the key word there. There are 3 categories of grasses according to Fritz van Oudtshoorn. He is a enigmatic person. He is a fantastic person to be around. To enjoy grasses the way he does, I think you have to be a little bit weird, and I mean that 100% as a compliment because I like grasses like that. But the 3 categories of grasses you get are pioneer, subclimax, and climax grasses. Your tsetse only eats climax grasses, so it is very, very picky. What basically that means is the stuff on the side of the road over here is your pioneer grasses. They are the building blocks of everything. Without them, none of that happens. It's the same way a honey bee is so important for the environment because it literally is the building blocks for pollination and everything like that. If you think of Joburg as a whole, you've seen this fluffy little grass thousands of times in your life, correct? Whether you've noticed it or not, it's the small fields of white or red cotton you see as you drive through Joburg. That is Natal redtop. That is one of the most important pioneer grasses, and it's believed if something happened to people, let's say for tomorrow for argument's sake, grasses like that would break apart the tar, and that's how things would start being retaken. They don't eat that because it doesn't taste nice to them. They only eat the best of the best. So with us being kind of here, we are very much off the beaten track, as I'm sure you guys can tell. That's the best of the best. Not a bad spot to be. So that's climax grasses, that's slab climax grasses. If your reserve does not have climax grasses, your reserve cannot have hartebeest, cannot have tsetse, cannot have blesbok, and general rule of thumb is your antelopes will be smaller. So even though you might have impala and stuff, they won't be as big, as bulky as ours are for just that fantastic range of things. Yeah. Continue on. Weird bit of information. That's a hard business. So, like I said, the most obvious difference is easily the horns. They stick out a lot higher, they bend more fantastically. What's really, really cool about them is a lot of people think the hartebeest name itself actually comes from the way their horns bend and stuff like that. It is in part, but it's not the whole reason. Another big reason for that is because of their tracks. You can kind of see the heart shape that people like to describe. It's just upside down. It goes more like that. But yeah, so with that, to continue with that fantastic part, their footprints have almost a perfect rounded back lobe. So when they bend, they go around like that, and they're very pointed. So they form a heart shape with their tracks as a whole as well, with a line down the middle. So a lot of people like to say it's a broken heart, but that's pretty negative. We won't go along with that as a whole. But muscle-wise, your Tetsubi and your hartebeest are very, very similar. I tend to believe that hartebeest has a bit more muscle towards it, just as a general look kind of thing. But your Tetsubi might be a bit more defined in terms of the details you can see with that. This is the stronger of the two antelope, though. Not as fast, which is fine. Still the slope back, still has all the advantages that it needs and all those fantastic things. But this is a hartebeest. It's cool to see both of them kind of back to back when everything's still fresh in the mind.
Is your something on the left that says? I suppose-
behind that tree.
If we go forward, you'll be able to see.
Bumba. Okay, we'll figure it out. I do see a warthog bum through the tree.
There's a water bomb, okay.
Yeah, there's the other one.
There's a wildebeest over here as well. Blue wildebeest, blue wild cows, brindle blue. Guinea fowl, suicide chickens. Don't do it. Sorry, it goes to the pocket. Large African bush cheddar. Male, female, beautiful,
Get the back.
not so beautiful. The opposite of the human world, unless you bravely me to disagree. But that's it. What's the best thing to do if you get attacked by an ostrich?
Huh?
What's the best thing to do if you get attacked by an ostrich? A lot of people believe the best thing to do is lie down. You're dead. Horrible. Horrible bit of information to do. I don't know why people thought it was a good idea, but you know, basically if an ostrich chases you and you run away, it's trying to trip you. So if it trips you, it wants you on the floor. So if you've already gone on the floor, you're exactly where it wants you to be. So if you look, it has a dinosaur-like claw. Not too dissimilar to a velociraptor from Jurassic Park. So what they'll do is they have what's called a double jointed knee. It's called a gymnogene effect. There used to be a bird called a gymnogene, also known as your African harrier hawk nowadays. What that means is that knee kicks with as much force going forward as it does coming back. So the knee bends both ways. It's quite fantastic. Hello there. Thank you so much. Okay, so with our feather dusters as a whole, the best thing to do is stand still, because everything runs. If you think of the impala we saw now, when the others started shouting at it, what did the other impala do? It ran. If a lion starts hunting, what do those animals do? They run. So everything runs. You stay still, you break the mold. If you break the mold, it confuses the animal. Luckily for us, all wild animals are less intelligent than ourselves, but all of them are also stronger in a fantastic way. But how smart do you think an ostrich is? Not smart at all. Their eyeball is bigger than their brain. So they don't operate very, very well. But that's okay, because they're beautiful, apparently. When you see the coloration with their beak during non-mating season, will have like an orangish, yellowish, pinkish kind of color towards it. It's quite meh. During mating season, it goes that brilliant bright pink, and their shins turn pink as well. He puts on his lipstick to show to the lady over there. If he's colorful enough, if he's beautiful enough, she will accept him. It's like with the real world. If the lady is interested in the man has a chance. The man is interested in the lady, but the lady doesn't have any interest. That never happens. Finished. That is the way it works. But you can see also on her coloration, she has more grey colors. She isn't as beautifully colored, but she doesn't have to be. She knows she's the catch, so she operates with it. But yeah, fastest bird in the world, running speeds of 60 to 70 kilometers per hour on foot. The fastest animal in the world is actually a bird as well. It is what we call a peregrine falcon. It has a descending speed of over 370 kilometers per hour, which is a little bit fast, just a smidge. But yeah, love and leave our large African bush chickens, our feather dusters. We're gonna go straight, see if we can find those giraffes the gentleman mentioned. But I think I see the legs over there through the bush behind our male giraffe over there. So we're gonna go straight round the bend and go this general vicinity. I'm pretty sure it's a giraffe leg. Yeah.
Seeing people from a distance words.
There is giraffe on the left hand side. I can't see the legs. I'm not going third place. There they are. There they are.
Oh, they're running aside. Something's scared. Little bit further, little bit further, little bit further, little bit further.
Kind of behind this tree should be on I know it's not the best view, but it's what we have to work with now. If we go that way, I actually think they're going to be cut off by the bush on this side as well. So we'll start with this and we'll go from there.
We're gonna cross the road now.
Well, they'll probably go that way now that I said that as well. Okay, so we're going to go around, see if we can see them. Get a better view of them. So, without touching, without looking, why do you think I say it's not very fresh? Because it looks quite fresh, doesn't it? Why do you think?
Can't smell it.
That's a good starting point. Can't smell it. We're right by it. Now the thing is, if this was fresh, right? There's so much food available. Why is there no bugs? So this is just to show you what winter can do to dung dropped early in the mornings or late at night. It kind of solidifies and keeps the shape. So what you would want to do in theory, it's not necessarily with this one, you will do it regardless, is you want to feel the warmth on the inside of the dung. If it's cold or cool, it's not fresh. If it's warm, then it's fresh. Another big thing here, there's no footprints. I do not weigh 2.5 tons, and I leave a piece of rock on this kind of soil without even really trying. There's some old Olivia here, there's some old Impala there. Rhino roll their feet so they don't walk the way antelopes walk and all this fantastic stuff. But I do not think these rhinos left the area. We were originally going to go straight that way, but there was quite a bit of tracks in that weird around the corner bit, so continue straight on. Then, depending on where we see, we either go towards Tetsubi, see there's anything by the watering hole, turn around, then go up towards Chukuru Road. But for now, this is our freshest piece of evidence. Like I said, it's not fresh. I don't expect them to be down the road. That doesn't mean they're not going to be down the road, but this is deceptive. This is deceptive. So,
Oh, it's very dry.
yeah.
Yeah, it's cold.
Some elephant.
This is right.
Not really.
Rhino. Really?
Yeah. So you
Is this the right one?
look at your video evidence being brave. So, with the starting point, with the difference between white rhino and black rhino, we'll start there, then we'll work towards elephant differences as well. What's the main
Nothing with
component
me.
of this dung? Grass.
Grass.
Grass, 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 grass. That's all they eat. There might be a dodgy stick in here somewhere, or that's also grass. A root or something, but 99% of it will be a grass material, grass contents. With your black rhino, they will be called a belt browser. So they'll be eating the bushes, there'll be leaves, there'll be sticks, there'll be that kind of foliage inside it. A couple of pieces of grass, of course, but not nearly as much as these ones over here. What's also really cool about your white rhino and your black rhino's chomping method is white rhino chow downwards, whereas because of the shape of your black rhino's mouth and the top hook lip, it actually cuts the branches at a 45-degree angle. So you'll find 45-degree angle sticks in the dung as well. It's pretty weird and pretty wonderful. Color is the biggest difference between elephant and rhino dung. I don't know if you remember it wasn't very fresh elephant dung we saw, but the elephant dung we saw on the tar road over there, do you guys remember, had a reddish brown color? Would you guys agree this has a blackish green color? So the reason being for that is the contents of the dung. Your rhino is that grass material as well. Elephants are what we call bulk feeders, so they eat everything. They'll eat the grasses, they'll eat the trees, they'll eat the bark, they'll eat sand, they'll eat mud to help with their stomachs and stuff like that. So that's where it gets that reddish brown color from. Also, rhinos always poop in one pile. Elephants can poop like this, but majority of the time elephants walk and poop. So there'll be a dung ball there, a dung ball there, a dung ball there. So we can confuse a lot of people if we did that. But, but our plan is we're going to continue on straight, just because those tracks said there was evidence of rhinos coming that way. Then, like I said, depending on what we see, if it says we have to go left, we'll go left. If it says we have to continue straight, we'll continue straight and try to figure out where they've gone.
So this is from the black rhino,
So this is white rhino.
white rhino.
This is white rhino. If we found black rhino dung on Mabalingwe, there'd be a bit of panic, also a lot of excitement. Like if we found lions on Mabalingwe, we'd be roaming them, there's panic. My friend directly behind me, what's this? You said it earlier. A nyala, there we go. This is a male nyala. So even though your nyala is the same species for male and female, why do you think they're different colors? For females, we saw a couple on the airstrip that have the beautiful reddish coat with the white striping coloration on them. Why is he so dark? Why is he a completely different color? Why do they differ so much? Because even though it's the same species, it has a different preference of habitat. Weird. So if you take his coat right now, as you'll see as he goes behind the bush, look how easily he disappears. That darker coat means he can blend in with this environment a lot more efficiently, a lot easier than your female nyala. So your female nyala is made for long, tall, open savanna grassy biomes, so it is better to survive for them there. That's why this works so nicely. The dark coats like kudus have, as a good example, like bushbuck has as a good example, because they go in there and they disappear. Did you guys see the tip of the horns? Did you see there was a white color to it? Okay, so if we find more nyala, we'll talk about that white coloration. And the other thing I want you to look at if we find more nyala or kudu is the way they walk. Okay, but for now, we meander on. That is a beautiful nyala though, that's a big nyala. So, we agree not fresh, yes? But fresher, why? The bugs. There's also a little bit of a smell towards this one, not a strong smell. But this is a nice example of what we call a territorial midden, okay? So, here. Yeah. Okay. Those two things over there are markings. What is that? Your guess. Educate, yes. It's a rhino putting its face into the floor and dragging his horn along the floor like that. His territory. That's a common. I think this is a female with a smaller, or two females potentially. I don't think it's male because it's two, and there's a. If this was a dominant bull, he would not come like that. If that's happening by his thing, or that one's in literally. But this is what we call a territorial midden. So with the markings in front over there. All the corner markings, but the markings in front over there and over here, and you'll probably find over here there's a bit of grass that's kind of been rubbed away. That's when he rubs his face on the floor to release the scents and stuff like that. Territorial midden is a very, very fancy word for toilet. If you are at home and you live with your parents or your partner, your parents have their bathroom, you have your bathroom. That's how you will mark your territory. Same thing over here. They've made this on an obvious spot, so if another rhino wants to challenge or wants to make aware that they are in this vicinity, this is the easiest way of doing it. Smell, poo, you don't have to look for it, you can find it if you can be enough. This is fresher, still think it's fresh, not enough bugs, not enough smell, and if we find really fresh rhino dung, it has more like a reddish kind of colour, it's bigger, then it gets that black coat over it as a whole. This is probably, not probably, this is from this morning. That would have been from late last night, or as we go. So I'd say this is probably, I don't know, 7 o'clock this morning, 6 o'clock this morning. So we're on the right path. Now we just need to try and find fresher evidence. First thing, more reddish brown color, you guys agree, without looking at anything else. Bugs, lots of bugs, lots of activity. Smells there as well. Oh, 2 rhinos still. See, big one, other one. Continue on. So we get it. Oh, there they are.
It's changing.
These bastards. There's two. At least.
Oh yes.
Into the bush we go. Hold.
Oh, it's another one.
There's a
Oh,
lot.
there's a few.
Look at the size of that hole.
Is it there?
Easy, you win.
Maybe for charge. Is it playing the mud or something? Oh. Okay.
Across the road. 1, 2.
Baju આવે છે.
From this side. They're having a blast. Saturday night.
No. This one. Come.
ચલો જો પટવાઈ
એ પેલી healthy one લાગે છે આ બધાને.
Oh. We did it the right way. They popped up here. We
Yeah.
followed everything wrong. It's quite funny. Patient game.
How many rhinos do you have?
At least 5.
How many do you have any poaching? That's neat.
We haven't had a poaching incident since 2016, so 7 years.
Oh,
like
that's a
couple
good.
months' time.
It's
Yeah, we'll have a conversation about that. It's very important to talk about that. I do think so. Yeah, let's start off with bits and bobs information, general stuff more than anything else. We'll start off with why the animals are called white and black rhino, or why they were formerly known as white and black rhino. It is a fantastic story. It really is. First and foremost, any guesses as to why a white rhino was called a white rhino?
they're lighter than this one.
Oh no. Good answer. They're not called white rhino anymore. That's probably the most important part to start off with. Your black rhino are not called black rhino anymore. Why?
No idea.
So, very simple reason. What colours are rhinos? Grey.
Yeah.
So does white work? No. Does black work? No. Does anyone know the new names for the African unicorns? Your white rhino is now called a square-lip rhino because of the shape of the mouth. Your black rhino is now called a hook-lip rhino because of the shape of their mouth. It don't matter what you call them. You can call them Chuck, Larry, Stu, Bob, and Uncle. Really does not matter. The animals don't know what we call them. But the reason they were called black and white rhino is a fantastic story. So we'll start off with the Dutch version of why they were called that, because the Dutch version is a nice way to remember it. It's a good story to tell, and it's relatively short. Then I'll tell you why they're actually called white and black rhino. Okay. First things first, apparently what happened was there was a conversation taking place between a Dutch gentleman and a English gentleman. I'm pretty sure it was stone cold sober conversation as well, but essentially what happened was the Dutch gentleman was explaining the animals to the English gentleman, and he explained that this fantastic specimen of an animal had a wit mond, and a white mond. So what the English gentleman heard was white mound, because big mound is a nice word for mass and stuff like that. Veit apparently can be misheard as vit, and fair enough. So, the real reason why the black and white rhino got their name, that's just a nice way to remember it. It's a cute little quick story. The real reason your white and black rhino are called white and black rhino is because the Khoisan people. Do you guys know of a reserve called Mabalingwe? If you've never been there, I would add it to the bucket list. It is the most culturally, historically important reserve in South Africa, and I include the Kruger Park with that. The reason I say that is because it is the oldest known civilization in the world, the Khoisan communion in Mabalingwe. I'm sure you guys know about Great Zimbabwe because we learned about it ad nausea in school. It outdates Great Zimbabwe by 300 to 500 years. Comfortably. So when they were doing their cave drawings, the Khoi people were very reality based. So what I mean by that is if you go to the Cradle of Humankind, which I'm sure majority of you have done at least once, you get told stories because that's how the Zulus drew their cave paintings. There was always a story behind it. If you saw an eland, there was a story as to why the eland did that, there was a story as to why the lion did that, etc, etc, etc. The Khoisan drew what the Khoisan saw. So if this rhino decides to cuddle the Honda over here, that's what the Khoi are going to draw. They're not going to draw vicious assault and all these lovely things, and wolf car was thrown 15 meters in the air and all those things. They're going to draw 2 rhinos and a white vehicle. That's it. And then the story goes along with that. So we're going to follow. Well, we're going to let them go past and we'll go forward. We also have a really nice view of these two. Okay, so white rhino comes from the way the Khoisan drew and draw their cave drawings. If you ever do go to see the fortunes at Mabalingwe, like sacrificing the baby almost. What a start to Mother's Day. Okay, so basically what happened with your white and black rhino?
I think they can get past it.
They definitely can.
No, it's very small. Okay.
They're off the race. Hello. Yes, ma'am. We haven't had a poaching incident since 2016. Do I agree with that decision? Oh, very different conversation to be had though.
Yeah, there's about 5.
Okay, so how the Khoisan drew the white rhino is they always drew the white rhino in a lighter shade of red or brown. You knew it was a white rhino because the neck was facing downwards.
This one might be.
I'll pull forward, but yeah, you should be able to, but I'll make sure. Ow. Well, we've committed to these two. That's fine. Remember, only sacrifice the back of the vehicle. So the way it works is they would always draw white rhino in a lighter shade of red or brown. You knew it was a white rhino because the drawings are slightly bigger. The neck faces down, and again, had lighter coloration. They always drew black rhino in a darker shade of red or brown. You knew it was a black rhino because the neck faced upwards and it was drawn smaller. Why do you think they drew one lighter and darker though? Hey girls, how are ya? So the reason as to why they drew one lighter and one darker without overcomplicating things is because that's what they saw. Right now, as we are viewing them go past the vehicle, do you agree there's a lot of natural light on them?
Yeah.
So by default they appear to be lighter. Black rhino, they prefer thick, dense bush. The best place to go see black rhino in my most modest of opinions is northern KZN, Kakui and Pelosi Park, if you want an individual reserve as a whole. And if you've been there before, you'll know how thick and dense it is over there. Black rhino get found in the darker locations of that area. So with that being their preferred habitat, they appear to be darker. Hence one was drawn lighter, hence one was drawn darker, hence white rhino and black rhino. Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Interesting. Yeah, they were on this bridge of extinction.
They were. They now. It's not exactly right.
That's how we were talking about camping.
It's great.
Mark Basher is very into this. I wonder if he's been yet. Probably.
We'll follow those ones, less people. Come back this way, you gorgeous things.
Oh, it's running away.
You big bastards. Okay, now. That car goes up and down this road every day. That's the best 4x4 in Mabalingwe. Dumbo, Jason, how are you?